So I have the fine gentleman of Holding Absence with me. How are you guys?
Yeah, great,
Good,
thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good man. Good. I've heard that it's a lot to do about love. What would you say is kind of the reason why you guys decided to have love as the idea of Holding Absence?
I think the main thing was we're so used to doing like standalone songs. It's hard to convey a large amount of emotion and like detail to the lyrics, you know. So when we started writing this album, I thought the best way of presenting like a story was by having 11 songs worth of lyrics to kind of cover all angles, I suppose. And it's not explicitly about love. There's lots of different topics, you know, but the primary emotion is love. But I just think love is a very overwhelming, like kind of nonsensical emotion, really. So there's a lot to sing about. Yeah.
So what about actually, you know, writing the album? What was that like?
It was stressful. Not gonna lie, it's been a rough couple of years. But we started the band way back when we started the band. The goal was always to do an album, full piece of music. In this day and age, lots of people are doing, you know, throwaway singles constantly. And we did that when we started. Not to say I was a throwaway. We did.
Good save.
Yeah, I know. We did lots of singles to get the initial exposure. But the thing that we wanted to always achieve is have one body of work. We're big fans of, you know, when you were like walking through Camden Market and you see the album T-shirts, and there's this album by the Smiths or this album by the Cure, or even like a post-hardcore album like Alexis on Fire, Under Oath. Like, we wanted a body of work that we can just put out for the next couple of years.
We wanted an album that would, in 10 years' time, still be looked upon as a separate but unique body of work.
I mean, because it's interesting that you mentioned, you know, that people kind of are more single based. What is it that makes you think that then?
I think the music industry is changing like rapidly. Releasing lots of content rapidly is great for the listener and great for the musician, because I feel like, you know, you're kind of more relevant all the time. But I feel like that might be destroying a very sacred art form in the form of albums.
You know, like an album now from like a popular band could be 8 of what we say as singles, like 3-minute perfect radio songs, and then you don't get the 6-minute like really like self-indulgent kind of crazy and like
and those are the songs, probably saying with you, that speak to me the most, you know,
when we listen to our favorite bands.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was going to talk about Marigold, and it's a very kind of very delicate kind of song. Was that, you
totally the purpose of the song was for the album to have a delicate moment, you know, and yeah, and I think, you know, we were very cautious that we didn't do too much different stuff, but we knew for a fact that from day one we wanted to do a lot of different stuff, you know. So like you said about Marigold, it is our band out of his comfort zone, and I feel like you wouldn't normally release a single like that, you know. So by having an album, it allowed us to explore the deep kind of corners of this band.
What would you say is kind of your favorite moment of the album?
There's a few. So in You Are Everything, the kind of conclusion of the second verse, the realize you're enough, you are everything, like that lyric, I remember listening back and kind of giving myself kind of shivers just listening to the lyric, and the way it was very like passionate and very proud, you know what I mean? Because this whole album's kind of been dealing with mental illness and talking about depression and kind of coming to grips with happiness and stuff. So I think Last Evening Light, there's the one line, one last question before I leave, is this terminal or will I heal? And I felt like that was a very sad lyric, you know. It was like, is this it for me? You know, and I just feel like it summed the whole album up, and I listened to it and I saw myself writing it, and it just reminded me of, you know, like such strong emotions I'd felt writing that. So that song definitely holds a place in my heart as well.
I think the thing that I really enjoy, and I think the bands that have stuck with me throughout, like being a person who loves listening to bands, is those bands where I've just happened to listen to their album in full when I've gone for a walk, whether I've been having the best day of my life or the worst day of my life. And I love to think that our album would be a great accompaniment to either. Okay. I think that makes, like, I don't know, I'm hoping the people who like us at the moment will love the fact that that's there for them now, and then people who will stumble upon us through the album will hopefully, hold it in high esteem.
What about the album's artwork? Because it's quite ambiguous. What does it kind of represent?
That was purpose. Not purposeful. That's the wrong word. We did that on purpose. We didn't just want like this obnoxious image that was like, this is the album. You have to feel this way about it. It can literally be. It could be anything. You know what I mean? And it is a woman holding a flower. And those are two themes that constantly run throughout. But we definitely wanted a sense of ambiguity on the artwork, because we wanted people to look at it and not feel like they'd already listened to it by looking at it.
What does the album represent to the two of you? You can answer this like together or individually. What?
It's tough because I know what I tried to do lyrically and I know what we tried to do musically, but after 2 years of lineup changes, letdowns, hard work, you know, time, money, it just feels like a real victory to me. You know, I've never finished an album before personally. None of us have finished an album before personally either. So listening back to it, it just feels like such a victory. There's so much to it. There's so much depth, so much honesty, and yeah, I'm incredibly proud. As a person, I'm incredibly proud of it.
On the other hand, as someone who's not been involved with the lyrical process, I think even though the lyrics are very much about someone's struggle, the light and dark, the good and bad, I think being one of the people who's been involved in the whole process from start to finish, there's a real sense of like, there's like a duality between like the struggle of, say, the character, which is Lucas in the songs that draws from those experiences, to actually being in the band, struggling with making an album.
Duality in the album is quite symbolic of the duality in life, you know, and I think the album shows you bliss and elation and heartbreak and tragedy the same way life does, and you can apply that to anything.
Well, thank you so much for having a chat, man. Thank you very much.